Well, hello and welcome to another Tyrrell's Classic workshop, and it's time for a workshop ... For the regulars, you can insert word as appropriate. Ketchup, whatever. Anyway, we've got this car here, an Aston Martin DB24 with its original instruction book from the 1950s. And as ever, Craig has, it seems like the never-ending story, this. Whenever Craig thinks he's sort of finished the interior on this and it's ready to go back together, we find another part that needs to be remade. So we're going to just start this workshop catch-up with a dive into this Aston Martin DB24. For those of you, I know Craig has got his own little following, he's smirking in the background there. So without any further ado, let's head for Craig's Corner. Hello, Craig.
Hi.
I thought we'd just have a look at the Aston Martin stuff, because this takes hand-built to a whole different level, doesn't it, really? So we got bits
workmanship
of, we got bits of rotting wood here, aging very disgracefully. This bit here looks particularly tasty.
Yes.
Nearly broke it. What can possibly go wrong? So basically, Tom and yourself are. We're not doing. This is not a retrim, is it? This is a remanufacture.
Yes. There's been a lot of the woodwork, the sort of canter rails that go around the that tidy up the ends of the headlining.
Yes.
And as you can see, they're very involved. That goes around the front screen. Rotten or broken or just or in pieces or missing bits. Because obviously we got this job it was just in boxes,
Correct.
So it wasn't just that, it was establishing which bits go where as well.
Yes.
So we're just making up the bits that are broken, really. I say just.
Yes, we're just whipping it together, aren't we? Yeah. So this is part of the windscreen frame.
Yes.
And this is essentially forms the bottom corner. You've got the dashboard along here, and I would venture to say the windscreen seal has been leaking.
Yeah, something like that.
Because this bit is all reasonably intact. This is steam bent plywood, isn't it?
I've glued that.
Have you?
It was like a fan.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
right, okay.
We've already got it to this state. At least that was in one piece. In that it was, we could glue it back together.
But that
was So I imagine all those pieces there. It had just come apart. So I glued it all back together. So we had a good one
to start from.
So that other one there
is
missing the bottom part.
Altogether.
As you can see, and Tom has made that piece there.
Oh, I see.
So, so he's gonna build up the bottom part. So
that goes on there like that.
Yes.
Right, I see. Okay, so you're actually going to reuse these?
Yes. Oh yeah, because
they're steam bent.
There's so much work gone into them. It would be a shame to not use them. Obviously, there's some bits that we just wouldn't want to use, but it's so involved, we'd never get that angle.
Why did they not use aluminium or something?
I don't know. It's the workmanship it's off the scale.
Well, it's cabinet maker, isn't it?
I know. Yeah.
It's cabinetry, if such a word exists. It did in the 1950s. But whoa! So this is round the rear side window, the rear quarter window, and
that is that there was two sets of some bits. So this is the proper piece, if you see what I mean. And that was a piece that was on it, and it had a different number on it. So there's the corresponding numbers. Yeah, I know. That fitted, but it didn't fit as well as the one that should have come off it. Yes, if you see what I mean.
So as if the car arriving in cardboard boxes wasn't enough, we decided to inherit an extra layer of complication by having parts that weren't even off this car.
Yeah, but they were the parts, but they weren't exactly the parts, if you see what I mean. They weren't the part. So that is still that, but this one fits better.
Right.
And it's off the car.
Yes. Okay. Are you still with us? Because I'm.
And then you've got these bits,
Okay.
which are just completely shot. So that piece there needs to be about
Really?
this longer, yeah. So that comes down. And so what happens with this is the seal, I think the seal sits on this side, the door shuts, and then this fits there, so there's a nice finish.
Right.
And then that comes down.
This goes around the hatchback.
Yeah,
Or
on the around the aperture for the door.
Oh, this is door
Yes.
aperture. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about the noise, by the way. That's Alex working on the Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud next door. He's doing some grinding and finishing and welding. So
Okay.
Apologies for the noise. I mean, gosh, honestly, noise in a workshop. But this is. So you've retrimmed this,
Yes.
and this is piping on the. Now,
I've used the original.
So
I've
this is
used
the
the original piping as well, because the piping was cut to shape as well, and it's not. And it's the cord piping as opposed to the
Plastic.
nylon.
Right, yeah.
So the paper piping. So I've used that as well. So it was not.
right. Okay. Well, that's.
Yeah. No.
This
So
is wool-
everything.
This is wool cloth, isn't it?
Yes.
So this was used in Rolls-Royce headlining. A lot of cars of the period actually used wool cloth. It was a lovely, lovely material.
It is. It's great.
You've actually made a headlining up and fitted it in the car.
Yes.
And then these go along the sides. It's so labour intensive.
I know, and it just sort of tidies it up. But underneath this, so if you could imagine that there. Now, underneath this, there's another piece there, which this sort of screws onto, and there's another piece sort of on the bottom there, where one of those other pieces. There's another piece that's sort of like that. Actually, that's the
Right,
piece. I know
yes.
this is getting a bit.
No, it's all right.
So that bit goes there, like
Right,
that. You see what I
okay.
mean? And it's trimmed in the leather.
Right. Okay. I mean, it's going to look lovely when it's finished, but
Yeah.
boy, what a journey to get there.
Yeah.
Really.
It'll be.
But this car had been, it had been, a gent was restoring it for the last 10 years, and it wasn't really making any, it requires a certain amount of, what's the word, focus, determination,
yes, yeah.
perseverance
Yeah.
to get to this stage. It just was a mountain to climb, really. So it's great that you're on with it. That you're making a serious dent in it now.
Oh yes, yeah. But it does. It's good that Tom's doing all these little bits, because it frees me up to,
Yes.
just establish what pieces need. And Tom's very meticulous.
Yes.
He doesn't
Yeah.
like to talk about that, being so meticulous, but he is meticulous. Yes.
But that's what's needed.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So okay, well, the headlining in the car is looking fantastic. It's going to be a very nice car when it's done. But oof, what a job!
Yes. Oh yeah.
Well, Alex, fabricator. I mean, you do so many things well. I'm actually I'm actually doing you a disservice by calling you a metal fabricator. But so we've got 3 new sections of steel on this sill.
That's it. Right.
And with each one, you've had to, because this is the long wheelbase car, it's 4 inches longer.
Yeah, that's it.
You've had to actually make up an additional section.
Yeah,
Because
on
that's what
each
they
one,
did
yeah.
originally,
Yeah,
wasn't
so,
it?
yeah, when you look at the way they've done, obviously the step on this is still original. You can see how much they've added into it.
Right.
So-
Because this is the long Silver Cloud long wheelbase, extra 4 inches, and all they did was take a standard steel body, as it's called, the short one, 4 inches shorter, and they just lengthened everything. And you've had to do the same, but it was rusty, wasn't
Oh,
it?
it was quite bad, yeah. Yeah,
So this is all new. So there's a vertical bit at the back which we can see on the other side.
yeah, you'll be able to see how it goes the other side.
Then a sort of 45-degree angled section, and then this on the outside, which is bizarre because the body actually,
Yeah, it doesn't need that much structure in it when you think, because it's got the chassis.
it's a separate chassis
Yeah,
frame
that's
car,
it,
so
yeah.
the body is just dropped on it. And if we move around to the other side, actually, this area here was absolutely rotten, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
pretty much non-existent, yeah. So.
Right. So fortunately we can get sections, can't we?
Yeah, so like all this here, this section you can buy, which obviously it was screwed together. So that's why I've left that so I can take it off. Because obviously there's still a few things I've got to do with that, but the rest of it we've had to put in and weld it.
Okay.
But even at the back of it, like this section here at the back of this, I've had to make all that because obviously that was gone as well, rotten. So.
Right. Okay. So, and this is a body mount here.
Yeah, so I had to make all that as well. So.
Really?
Yeah, and obviously when I'd done it, I just had to raise the car a little bit just to obviously compensate. So when it comes down, it's just going to compress the rubber and sit on the mount as it should.
Exactly the right height. And obviously we can see from the other side the panel gaps for a 1960s car are actually very tight, aren't they?
They are tight, to be fair, yeah. So when you're doing this, you've got to allow for obviously your filler, your paint, primer and all that as well. So you can't make them too close to start with, so you just got to allow allowances like that.
Indeed. So this is the outer sill. Again, here's the bit you welded on the end.
There. Yeah, so just put a piece on the end of that, obviously fine tuning when it comes to it, like, so just give yourself a little bit extra to work with.
And then you got the 45-degree.
Yeah, so put that in,
there.
so that's all welded in. Obviously that actually goes behind the step, which makes it harder to do. So
I see what you mean.
So on the step I've actually put this in as well. So, because obviously to drill all the spot welds out on this, it wouldn't have been viable, there'd be no metal left. So that's why I just cut it off, put a new strip in all the way along, and obviously put the step behind it.
This really has been a job and a half.
Oh, it's been a mammoth task, yeah. And obviously when putting this on, it marries up with all this. So, and then obviously, because this piece, obviously they're only new panels, they fit so good, so you've got to make them fit yourself. It actually becomes too long for this, so then I've had to shorten that to make up for it.
Right.
Because there's all like bracing behind here as well. So it's just things you got to think of when you're putting it together, you got to think like 3 steps ahead.
So these sort of jobs should carry a warning, not plug and play.
No, well, so all this as well, I've had to make all this, like from there on, made all that, just so it fits nice round here. Because they fit to a degree, obviously, then you've got to make them fit.
Yes.
But like I say, the basis of the shapes there.
But a lot of people actually wouldn't go to this trouble. They just bash it around and make it fit,
Pretty
I
much,
suspect.
yeah, that's it.
Actually.
Which would have been harder, because I've had, obviously this section here, I've had to bend it that way. Because when we first started, this section was out here.
Oh, really?
So it was more or less like that sort of shape. So you'd never get it to fit the car.
Right.
So it took some bending to get it back over. And obviously dressing all the edges up, getting these to sit nice here as well. So it's been a bit of a faff to get it to, like you said, to get it to look good, isn't it? It's obviously you can't just chuck them on, it doesn't work like that.
Well, it's so we can sleep at night and know that we're doing the best we can.
Right. Yeah, as good as you can get it and doing it as right as possible.
But what a job. Oh, good grief. And yeah, so you're going to move on to the rear wheel arches.
Yeah, the corner section, obviously. Obviously, that's what this was another panel. Like I say, we could buy a corner piece, but obviously, because I've got to make it longer, I've just cut it there. But this piece originally will never have married up with that because the distance on that part to that one was about that much different. So it would have been too small anyway, so that's why I've just cut it there and just make my own piece up.
As you do.
Yeah, as you do, yeah. As you've got to, yeah. Because like you say, trying to dress that up to fit that, it'd be more time doing that than I would actually to make it.
Right.
Again, like you say, it's easier just to make it.
Yeah. Of course it is, yes, says the metal fabricator extraordinaire. Alex, I mean, this is amazing. And these are the tread plates.
Yes, that's awesome.
Which go like on there. And they are, they're just, I think I mentioned this in the last video actually, that they're just, and we'll get these all beautifully polished like they would be new. And it's really going to set I mean, that's the least of our concerns.
No, like I say, I'm using them obviously when you do cut all this out and leave this, it does move, so I've just used them for references. When you fit the doors, make sure you still got your same clearances.
Exactly.
So use them as a reference.
Yeah. But Alex, this is wonderful.
It's getting there.
Thank you very much.
Nice. Good.
Really amazing. Well, it's funny because I've been making these videos for a number of years now, and to my recollection, I've never actually talked about the carburation on the Lamborghini Miura. So it's high time we did so, and we have young James here along as well to correct me if I get anything wrong. Well,
I think you're the expert.
So the just a little bit of Lamborghini engine history. That the factory was launched to the press in April 1963, and the prototype engine that Ferruccio Lamborghini started up had vertical Weber carburettors on it, 6 twin-choke carburettors, and we actually rebuilt the engine out of the 6th production Lamborghini with a set of those priceless vertical carburettors on them. So for the production cars, the 350 GT, the 400 GT, the Islero, the Espada, they used horizontal carburettors, DCOEs, to keep the bonnet line low so that you didn't have this great big set of carburettors poking through the bonnet, which some people might find appealing, but Lamborghini took a calculated risk that people wouldn't like that. So along comes the Miura, and the engine is perched in the middle of the car, and there's sufficient height to go back to the original vision of vertical carburettors, downdraft carburettors. So the air comes in through the air cleaner, down through these carburettors into the cylinders on the engine. And these carburettors are triple choke, so these are quite a bit of kit, actually. They were sort of about as, well, one of the most complex carburettors Weber did. They were used on Porsche 911s, so instead of being across the car, because the engine on the Miura is transverse, on the 911 Porsche, you had one carburettor on one side of the engine and one carburettor on the other. Now, the interesting thing is, and I've gone through this in some detail with some very clever carburettor people, it affects the way the carburetors are orientated, affects how the fuel is introduced to them and how they actually work. Because there's petrol, you have different ways when you're going around a racetrack or driving the car very hard. You get sideways forces, but they're not as transient as braking and acceleration. So Weber had to actually alter the Porsche 911 carburettors to make them work like that, so that the splashing didn't actually cause the car to misfire and all that good stuff going around corners or whatever. So that's that. These are the float chambers here. So what happens is the float, the brass float, actually is pivoted, and this is the carburettor top. So I'll use this one. The fuel is introduced here, and then the float actually moves. It pivots on a fulcrum there, but it actually moves up, and it closes the needle valve off.
Which is what we have
Exhibit A. So that pushes that rod, which closes the fuel supply to the float chamber. Now, the interesting thing is, these are brass, and they are soldered, so it's 2 halves, and they're actually soldered together with a ring of solder around there. And what happens is, this happens on SU carburettors as well, the floats on those, old Rolls-Royce and Bentley carburettors, they all have a similar concept. That it only needs a tiny pinprick to appear in the solder, which by this time is, of course, decades old. Yeah. And the float starts to fill with petrol, because petrol is ultra thin. It'll work its way through the tiniest of holes. And you can actually, if you shake them, you can hear the petrol rattling around inside. And that is very bad news.
Yeah, because it'll flood the carb, wouldn't it? And it'll keep just pouring fuel.
Exactly, and it floods the carburettor, and because of the design of these carburettors, that is the breather for the float chamber there. The petrol actually comes out of that into the airbox above here, and you only need one backfire, and the whole lot goes boom. And that's one of the contributors to Miura's going on fire, or their reputation thereof. On certain other carburettors, like the SUs I mentioned on Rolls-Royces and things, the float chambers, it's a completely different design, and they actually have a little pipe. So if the float does sink, and it's there all the time, it just pushes it out down the pipe under the car, which is far from ideal, but it was better than this system. So that is one of the reasons why Lamborghini's Miuras have a reputation for going on fire. Whenever we overhaul these carburettors, we actually use the Webcon, who are the cleverest Weber carburettor people in the world, have commissioned floats made out of a modern material called spansil, which is like a black plastic material. And we actually fit these as a matter of course, because this is a failure waiting to happen after 50 or 60 years. So, so what have you done on this?
Where to start? So first of all, we diagnosed the car for having a fuel leak through this diaphragm,
Right.
which would sit in the car like that. This would then sit on top, and that would sit behind.
Right. So
which
just
would sit.
that's
there.
it there. This is
Yeah.
what's called the accelerator pump.
Yeah.
So when you press the accelerator hard, this squirts extra fuel into the car. Yeah.
And you can see it built up on this one.
There we go.
You've
There's-
got
yeah.
your diaphragm, this black bit that sits at the front, and you've got this plate in the middle, and then you've got this this rubber gasket, I would say.
Right, let's just turn that around so we can get a close-up of that. Okay, so that's called the accelerator pump diaphragm.
Yeah.
And it was pretty right.
Yeah,
wasn't
it was leaking. This is one similar, and you can see the small mark in it there.
Oh yes.
Which you can shine a light through, and the fuel will seep through that, fall down the engine, and then, as you know, it will eventually catch fire. So we found that, so stripped one out and rebuilt it. Saw that diaphragm was knackered. So then we've decided to do all four.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
And then just gone through it, ultrasonic cleaned it, blew all of them out, heat gun so they dry nicely, and then waiting for the floats to arrive.
Right, and this emulsifier tube, you can see on that again. We haven't fully cleaned this up yet. You can see there's a tiny bit of green mould there because the fuel was old in this car, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was from, I think it was from the UAE.
Yes.
So it was a different octane as well to what we were on.
Right, exactly. So it's been stood there for a while. The car hasn't been driven. These are quite valuable, these carburettors. As I say, they're in this guise, they're called Weber 40 IDL 3Cs, 3C for 3 choke, and then the IDL denotes a particular special application for this car. The other car that used these was the Ferrari 365 and 512 Berlinetta Boxers, again, front to rear. So you actually had 4 of them on that because it's a flat 12 engine, 2 on each bank. And again, they were designed to run that way, not that way. So I've poured over these with Martin from WebCon a little while ago to see how, and there actually are different parts of the galleries inside the carburettors. These are all galleries inside here. There are actually some of them that are different, and the way Weber manufactured these, this is Zamac or Mazak, which is a zinc alloy, which doesn't age very well actually, hence you can see it's just sort of slightly crumbling away in places. All these little things have got tiny little plugs, and what Weber did with these when they manufactured them, because there's loads of tiny little drillings in here for the fuel to work its way around and the air to vaporize and one thing or another. See, lots of them. They actually introduced a very explosive gas, kerosene or I don't know, something, and they ignited it inside the carburettor when they were manufacturing them. And that smoothed out all the bird ends and things like that.
Right.
So that the passages were all lovely and clean on the inside. Clever stuff, really. But so this is why the synchronizing is so important, because it only needs 1 or 2 of these throttles to be out of synchronization or to be letting a little more air in, and the whole thing needs the hose pipe treatment. So, I mean, we've got another Miura here that we're just about to do the same. This is sort of our bread and butter, really.
Yeah.
But this is the first time you're...
Yeah, this is the first time I've touched one of these. I've done a few Espada ones.
Right.
And they are much simpler than these.
Yeah.
But the best way to do it, as you know as well, is lots of photos. Make sure you know where each jet goes.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll put one back in the wrong place, and
Yeah.
you'll have a car that's not running right, and then be looking for hours.
Yes. Absolutely. And the other thing is we do have workshop manuals here for them
Yes,
as well,
we do.
which is great. Old reference material from way back, which I've managed to acquire over the years. So it's a surprisingly intricate bit of kit, this, and to the point where some restorers of Miuras, who shall remain nameless, have actually ditched these. They've taken them off the car and put a modern electronic fuel injection system on to admit defeat and just throw their hands up in the air and say, this is too difficult, we can't be doing with this. That is a bit like putting a painting in a flat pack, the Mona Lisa in a flat pack frame.
Taking away part of the fun of it.
Of course you are. So these have passed the shake test, have they?
Yeah, none of them have any fuel in, and when they were cleaned as well. And I know it's water, it's not as you explained to me, it's not as good a fuel as getting inside of them, but there was no liquid inside of them, no bubbles coming out, so
Fantastic.
They're all fine, but as you say, why risk it?
Well, exactly. I mean, bearing in mind what's at stake, money-wise and everything else, we don't really do cars randomly bursting into flames here.
We're not a fan. And then I think it's interesting, we were discussing it before, how you set these float heights.
Yes.
It's very different compared to any of the DCOEs or the IDAs that we have in. We have to get that special tool that sits.
Yes, on the mating face.
Yeah,
here.
on the mating face, and it's got a spring that sits on the side of the float, and it's a very different way that we've ever seen. Well, I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And the float height is absolutely critical. This height here, that the floats actually float on the little bathtub of petrol, is critical, because it affects the whole performance of the carburettor. The weight of that fuel going around the carburettor is absolutely critical. So that it's quite a skilled job, this, actually.
Yeah, on this one, if we take the top off,
sure,
we can see it here. This one's not been touched or disassembled or anything. So this is exactly how we've got them.
Yeah. So there's your float pivoting, he says, and there's that little tank there. Closes the needle valve like that when the float gets to a certain height, and it shuts off the fuel supply. All clever stuff. But yeah, as a matter of course, even though these both feel fine too, as a matter of course, we will change them for the Spansil ones from a safety point of view.
Yeah, I agree.
This is sort of housekeeping and general maintenance. Replacing these is a fireproofing modification that should be done on any and every Ferrari Boxer, Porsche 911, Lamborghini Miura. I don't think there are any other cars that had these carburettors on them. But I mean, a set of these, in US dollars, you're probably looking at 20,000, something like that.
That's a lot.
Are you feeling the pressure?
That's a lot, yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
It's all fine. It's all good. So there we are. Well, that concludes another Tyrrell's Classic Workshop. Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe, and we'll be back with something else very soon.